It's an amazing day. My name is Andrea. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. This is a channel where I talk about all things surrounding mature living for women over 50. So today I'm going to be sharing my vegetarian story. I've been a vegetarian for 27 years. If that's something that you're interested in, stay tuned. First of all, I want to say that I just recorded this whole entire video and it didn't record. Just thought I'd share that. So yes, vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for 27 years. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. First of all, it's been an incredible journey. And I'm very grateful that I made the decision back in 1996 to change that aspect of my life. But back in 1996, I was newly divorced, had been divorced or separated. My actual divorce wasn't official yet, but I had been separated maybe about a year or so, or close to a year, living in a new state without my biological family. And so I was a new single mom, single mom, and I had a 2-year-old toddler. And I began to struggle with migraines. I was really in a very stressful season of my life, and I began to struggle from migraines, eczema, and I had just gotten diagnosed with a uterine fibroid, very small fibroid tumor. So again, this book was geared towards African American women, and there was a section in there that talked about, our health, our physical health, and how culturally our diets that we were accustomed to were very harmful to our bodies. And I remember reading some information that were really, really specific around migraines, skin challenges, and also especially uterine fibroid tumors. So with that being said, at that season of my life, I had to find some solutions, right? I wanted to get out of what I was feeling like was a hamster wheel, right? Of not feeling well, being a single mom, and, dealing with a small child. That's a lot to deal with in one particular period of your life. So I began to do some research. I love reading. And at that time, I was I had a subscription to Essence Magazine. I had followed Essence Magazine for years. And someone in that magazine referred the book called Body and Soul. I will put a link or a picture of it somewhere here in the video. And I went and I either purchased that book, I'm thinking back, it's been a long time, you guys. I believe I purchased the book and I didn't get it from the library. I purchased the book and began to read it and found out some very, very interesting information. Tumors are very prevalent in the African American community amongst women. And one of the pieces of information that it shared was that because we generally eat a lot of meat in our community, that a lot of the animal products, the animals were being fed hormones to grow, make them healthier and fatter, right? So people can purchase them. But fibroid tumors feed off of those hormones. And because we generally consume a lot of that type of food in our diet, that we experience at a greater rate fibroid tumors. In addition, it also had some chapters in there about, or sections I shall say, about skin disorders, right, which is eczema, and also migraines. And I don't remember verbatim, like I said, that was 27 years ago. However, basically it imparted to me that changing your diet to a vegetarian, non-meat, plant-based diet would possibly, or could possibly, change the symptoms to these challenges that I was having. Now being the type of kind of rogue personality that I have, right? I didn't have to put much thought into it. I literally just stopped eating meat. This was actually 1 week before Thanksgiving, where I had planned to host and entertain my sister and her husband at my home. And I continued to cook for them, but I stopped eating meat literally like the very next day. With that being said, one of the first things that I recognized not eating meat about a week later was my energy levels. Having a toddler, for those of you who are parents and you remember having the 2 and 3 year old age child, or a little under one or a little over one, but not quite two, right around there, their personalities are developing, the little tantrums and all those things, how exhausting that period of your life can be, as it was for me. But within 1 week, to my surprise, I noticed that my energy level had skyrocketed. I had so much more energy each and every day. That was the first thing that I recognized when I stopped eating meat. Now you're probably thinking, Andrea, well, what did you eat then? Listen, remember, this was 27 years ago. So this is before veggie burgers, plant-based anything. Most people who were eating a vegetarian or vegan lifestyle at that time really had to search for products and specialty markets and things of that nature. And also you had to get creative with how you were preparing your food, right? But initially I just ate everything the same. Initially, I just did not eat the meat. So if I made, like, for example, that Thanksgiving that I cooked for my sister, I made stuffing, macaroni and cheese, collard greens, all those things, but I just did not eat the turkey. I don't think I made a ham. I just did not eat the meat. And that's kind of how I started my vegetarian journey. Now, as I began to stay on that path and decided I was going to stay on that path, I began to read more information, go to the bookstores, pick up books with vegetarian recipes, read more. And I stayed on the course of that journey for many different reasons over the 27-year period. But I will say this, shortly after that, my migraines went away. And I had a 6-month checkup of that fibroid, and it was gone. And here I am 20 something years later. I've never been re-diagnosed or had a fibroid tumor. So it's very interesting. Now, this is just my experience. So let me give my disclaimer here. This is not medical advice. Because it worked for me, it may not necessarily work for you. There's so many different things, but I just wanted to share my story, that it's just my lifestyle now, right? It's just a lifestyle. So let me share with you some of my favorite things that I like to eat. Before I jump into my favorites, I will say I think the biggest challenge of making the vegetarian or vegan, which I'm not, vegetarian transition is mindset. For especially us Generation Xers and millennials, we grew up with that little plate that showed us that we needed a starch, a bread, a vegetable, and a piece of meat. And so in our mind, we just assume that we cannot live without meat. And this is so not true, right? This is not true, right? The interesting thing is that a lot of the animals that we eat don't even eat meat. But that's another story for another day. That's not what I'm getting on here today. But I did want to just share that a lot of it has to do with mindset. Right. So once you shift your mindset and you begin to see nutrition, or you begin to see cooking, if you will, in a very different way, it does become a lot easier. So as I began to learn more, get creative, about 2 years after that, maybe a year and a half after that, I remarried. And so my husband was not a vegetarian. So I had to learn how to make meals that were good for everybody, right? And I got really, really good at that and creative. And I also, of course, bought he's my ex-husband now, my husband aboard with some of the meals, as well as my oldest child. And, we made it work. It really was not that difficult. And that's why I said it has to be a mindset shift. And I'm just really, really happy that I made that initial decision. I do believe it's an integral part of my health journey, even today, even though I do other things around health. I don't do everything perfect. I'm not saying that. I am not a guru, so that's not over here, right? But I do think I've made some good decisions, and I think it's been beneficial to my health, period. So some of my favorite cuisines are, I love Italian. I grew up in the North, so I love all things Italian and Greek, Chinese. I love Mexican food as well. in my home, I do cook like beans and rice, sort of those type of meals. Any types of soups and stews I love as well. A lot of things just without the meat. And I think the beautiful thing about today is that there are a lot of plant-based options to sort of help you shift your mindset, if you will, if you just need that nugget on your plate, right? They have veggie nuggets, but I do want to say that we have to be very mindful that a lot of brands have jumped on the bandwagon, and not everything that's everything that's plant-based or vegetarian is marketed as vegetarian is not necessarily healthy. So we really have to do our own due diligence per brand and product in terms of what it's offering our bodies. And so that's a whole nother topic, and I don't want to get into that today. I just really wanted to come and share my story and perhaps give you a few tips if it's something that you have been thinking about in terms of changing or shifting to a vegetarian lifestyle. One of the biggest questions that I get is, what about protein? Oh my God, I gotta have meat because my protein. I can only speak for myself. But the first thing is, how many people do you know that have a protein deficiency? Not saying that there aren't any, but how many, right? We get protein from a lot of other sources than just meat. We get protein from beans. We get protein from certain vegetables. You just have to do your research. I don't have all that documentation today, but if you want, I can come back with it and share those things with you in terms of facts, right? In terms of which vegetables have protein and all that. I'd be more than willing to come back and do that. Just comment below and let me know what you want, and I'll share with you. More than willing to share with you. And so lastly today, I just want to share, if it's something that you've been interested in, if you've been sort of toying or sort of playing around with being a vegetarian or being a vegan, and let me just say this, I'm not vegan, right? Vegan is no animal products. So that means no eggs, no cheese, no dairy. That is not me. I don't eat a lot of dairy, but I do like eggs and I do like cheese. And I have to limit my cheese because we know cheese can cause high cholesterol, right? If we eat too much cheese, especially at this season in our life, right? But if you want to get started, I will share this, that you can just start with like a meatless Monday. One day a week, just have a meal without meat. That can be a pasta dish. That can be tacos. You know, they sell what I call it's grillers, or not grillers. Crumbles is the brand that I use. It's by Morningstar. I've been using it for years. It has transitioned well to non-vegetarian. So even when I was married, or I would take a dish to, you know, an event where there are non-vegetarians, I use those crumbles in place of ground beef, if you will, for chili, spaghetti, lasagnas, and it's a great crossover. I know there's a lot of brands, but this is the brand that I use for those type of dishes. But I will share, just start you on a meatless Monday, and, you know, practice and play around with meatless dishes, and then move forward from there. It really, really isn't as difficult as I think that we make it seem. Again, with all the other resources today, I think it's really the biggest thing, I think, is that it is a mindset shift. That's really a basic part of my vegetarian journey. I hope that I didn't omit anything. I don't know. I have a few notes here, but I just wanted to sort of speak from the heart. This has been a very beneficial lifestyle for me, and I'm super excited for myself at this juncture that it was a path that I've chosen. Though I started for many reasons, I continued for many other reasons once I got more knowledge, more understanding, and I also saw some of those results of that in my life. So listen, make sure that you like this video, that you share this video, and that you comment below if you have any questions. I would love to come back and share more about my vegetarian journey. Make sure you also hit the notification button so that you can get notification of all my new videos. Have a wonderful and blessed day, and I'll see you next time.